made it a dirty business.
Yeah.
And I think, to me personally, that's infuriating.
But he had come into the country to attack the United States on our own ground.
This is the mastermind, Mr. Nobody.
He's going to come back, and he's going to keep coming back.
They told me to grab my team. We're going to get him.
Foggy drizzle is not a band name yet, but it's our forecast for the next 48 hours. I'll play it out for you coming up in a few. Live from downtown Marquette, it's your 19 News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Blakely. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, education, housing, tax cuts, just some of the key items Governor Whitmer touched on in her State of the State address. Tonight, a recap, including Republicans' reactions. Plus, warm weather is affecting yet another winter event. The changes to this weekend's Nakamenon Ski Marathon in Marquette County. And a closer look into whether more families in Michigan are choosing to homeschool their children. Your 19 News starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
Things are pretty quiet out there for now, but Ariane, I know that we are having a little bit of concern about fog tonight.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we've got very wonky winter weather going on, but as you can see behind me here live in downtown Escanaba, things looking pretty mild, as Sarah mentioned, and that's going to be the story into our evening. But we are expecting some wintry mixes to push in. The past couple of hours, a lot of that activity along that Wisconsin border. We've also got fog on the way. That drizzle and fog could also be freezing, and that could continue even into our Friday. Temps right now still warm, 30 degrees. I've got more on this after the break.
Thanks, Air. 1 year into her second term, Governor Gretchen Whitmer outlined her 2023 accomplishments while laying out her plans moving forward in her 6th State of the State address. Our Michigan Capitol correspondent Sophia Murphy has the rundown of the governor's address and the programs she hopes to kick off this year.
During her 2024 State of the State address, Governor Gretchen Whitmer focused mostly on her goals to create relief for family expenses.
Tonight, that's what I'm going to focus on. How we keep lowering costs, how we improve education to set up our children for success, make more stuff right here in Michigan and compete with the world.
While laying out her plans, she mentioned the recently instated vehicle rebates to incentivize purchasing union-made and electric vehicles, and $1.4 billion that she'd like to invest in building new and rehabilitating old homes to relieve affordable housing shortages, both issues it was anticipated she would address as the increase in cost of living has become a main concern for many Michiganders.
Voters are really concerned about inflation and costs, and they're worried about the economy and jobs.
The governor moved up her timeline for providing free pre-K for all 4-year-olds. Originally set for 2026, she now plans to lower education costs by hitting that goal in 2024. In both the House and the Senate, Republican leaders say they remain concerned about these plans raising costs instead of lowering them.
I didn't really hear the words bipartisan a ton tonight. There's the ability on some of these issues that have involved tax cuts and reduced government spending. You could probably get some Republicans on board, but right now they're in a tough spot.
Members of the House GOP say they were disappointed more financial transparency laws weren't addressed, following what they called historically inadequate legislation passed last fall. The governor ended the address by calling on the Department of Transportation to provide the last $700 million needed to finish her Rebuilding Michigan plan.
No matter who you are or where you come from, if you work hard, you should be able to provide for your family and have a fair shot at a better future.
From Michigan's capital, Sophia Murphy, WZMQ 19 News.
Tomorrow night, we'll have more from UP state lawmakers about the State of the State address and how some of them say the governor's plans fall short. The Nakamenon Ski Marathon organizers are making some changes to the route this year. This year's Nakamenon Ski Marathon is Saturday in Marquette County, but due to weather concerns, the organization has decided to begin all events at County Road 510 instead of the Alqual Recreation Area in Ishpeming and finish at the Forestville Trailhead. They will have buses to bring skiers and spectators to the starting line as well as the Superior Dome after they finish.
Very lucky to be planning for this marathon. We only got snow a couple weeks ago, and it is important for the community. The No Cayman On is also a time for people to get outside, and that's really important. And we do love our snow up here, otherwise we wouldn't live up here.
The Junior Marathon will be Friday as planned at the Alqual Recreation Area. The Trail Network is still looking for volunteers for the Junior Marathon. If you're interested, we'll have a link to that on our website, as well as the full list of course changes this weekend. There's now a jury in the trial of Jennifer Crumley, the mother of the Oxford High School shooter. The prosecution and defense teams chose a total of 17 people who will hear testimony. 12 of them will ultimately decide whether she is guilty or not of involuntary manslaughter for her son's actions. Andres Gutierrez is outside the Oakland County Courthouse in Pontiac with the latest in this first-of-a-kind trial.
The jury is made up of 10 women and 7 men. A majority of them are gun owners or grew up around guns. Gun ownership was a key topic when the prosecution and defense teams were asking their questions to the pool of 300 jurors. In total, they accused 25 people, including one woman this afternoon who was strongly opposed to guns and believes that others shouldn't own them even for hunting. The parents of the Oxford High School shooter are accused of buying him a gun even though he struggled with mental health issues that were never addressed. During this trial, prosecutors will try to prove that Jennifer Crumley was grossly negligent as a parent and ignored her son's pleas for help before he killed 4 classmates and wounded 7 others. The judge in this case, Cheryl Matthews, has set aside 2 weeks for this trial, but it may spill over to 3. Opening arguments will get underway here at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Jennifer Crumley's husband is also facing the same charges. His trial is set to begin in March. In Washington, some Senate Democrats are pushing for a 2-state solution between Israel and Palestine as a way to end the conflict and prevent future ones. Hawaii Democratic Senator Brian Schatz says nearly 50 of his Senate colleagues want to include an amendment in a supplemental spending package, which includes money for border security, Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel. The amendment supports reiterating that U.S. policy favors a 2-state solution. Israel's prime minister recently rejected that idea. The Hawaii senator says the prime minister's rejection of a 2-state solution advanced him and his colleagues to push for this amendment. According to the senator, no Republicans, though, have signed on to support the amendment. Today, the U.S. Navy shot down 2 missiles launched by the Iran-backed Houthis. The recent military attacks on Houthi targets come after weeks of escalation in and around the Red Sea and multiple attempted Houthi attacks on commercial shipping vessels. The recent escalation is raising questions in Washington about how far the Biden administration can go without congressional approval. In recent decades, presidents from both parties have exercised latitude with the War Powers Resolution to target military strikes against hostile actors in order to prevent further escalation. Experts say it's kind of a gray area in today's military age.
Really interesting thing is that the War Powers Act, which was passed in response to the Vietnam War and the protraction of the Vietnam War into other countries, is sort of a dead letter. It doesn't really give too much power to Congress unless they want to cut funding for the military. And that's just not something you want to do when the military is in action.
Today's interception by the U.S. Navy comes after the 8th round of attacks by the U.S. military on Houthi infrastructure in just over 10 days. Voters in only 2 states have chosen who they want to be the next president, but it appears more and more likely that the 2024 presidential ballot will look just like the 2020 ballot, with former President Donald Trump taking on President Joe Biden. Natalie Brand is in Washington with more.
After winning Iowa and now New Hampshire, former President Donald Trump says the race for the GOP nomination is effectively over.
When you win Iowa and you win New Hampshire, they've never had a loss.
The Biden campaign is also preparing for a rematch, saying they will run like the fate of democracy depends on it.
If I'm going to be in a fight, I want to be in a fight with you, the UAW.
The president, holding his second campaign event of the week, rallied a friendly audience of United Auto Workers as he tries to lock up political support from labor unions.
The UAW is endorsing Joe Biden for President of the United States.
While the president and former president are pivoting to November, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is vowing to keep fighting for the Republican nomination.
You know, we started this race, there were 14 people in the race. We had 2% in the polls, and we worked our way up. We were very excited last night because we saw that we had gone up 25 points in a month, and we were thrilled. So we got out there and we did our thing and we said what we had to say, and then Donald Trump got out there and just threw a temper tantrum.
But as election season plays out, Trump still faces unprecedented legal challenges and a decision by the U.S. Supreme Court on whether he can remain on the ballot.
The Supreme Court is scheduled to hear arguments on February 8th for Trump's appeal of the Colorado Supreme Court decision to remove him from the ballot. That's also the same day as Nevada's GOP caucuses. Your first warning weather forecast is coming up after this break. Plus, a slow start to winter activities on the trails through the UP, but the DNR says at least it's meant fewer emergencies this winter, what the department discussed in its virtual meeting tonight. And one Lions fan is taking his passion for the team to the next level, making it permanent, maybe a bit too soon. We'll have his story. We're back in 2 minutes.
19 News is brought to you by Kirkish Furniture.
It's time to clear out the showroom for Kirkish Furniture's January clearance sale. Find year-end savings in every department all month long. Furniture, mattresses, appliances, and flooring. Shop Kirkish Furniture's January clearance sale while supplies last.
John's Auto is quickly becoming everybody's favorite place to get their car fixed. John's Auto is quickly becoming everybody's favorite place to fix their car. Was that right? For a better service experience, come to John's Auto Market. Why do I keep forgetting that word? Experience. Okay, go. For a better service experience, come to John's Auto Market.
And don't forget,
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
That's an outright lie.
The Emmy-nominated Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Come at me, GOP. Come on.
Weeknights on CBS.
Mike Ludlam Sports, only on WZMQ 19 News.
Kiss the cold weather goodbye and embrace the warmth and fun of the Caribbean without leaving your couch. One Caribbean Television is your Caribbean connection, whether you visit the Caribbean for fun or to renew family ties. One Caribbean Television keeps you informed 24/7. Get the latest news, weather forecasts, Caribbean entertainment, and carnival action. If you long for the fun and sun of the Caribbean, download our app now to watch One Caribbean Television on the go, live or on demand.
Now, WZMQ 19 News First Warning Weather with Ariane Stasek.
Current temperatures in that low 30-degree range. We have some fog out there as well over to the bridge. We'll see more of it along that Lake Michigan coastline and in the northeast corner there. I'll show you that in just a minute. Those lows tonight, pretty much what we're already seeing out there. And like I mentioned, that fog expected along Lake Michigan and even over in Newberry. Iron Mountain, you could have some freezing drizzle. Most of us could see some of that the next couple of days. And a heads up, if you're heading down into Wisconsin tomorrow, you might want to hold off if you don't want to contend with this freezing drizzle, freezing fog, regular drizzle. It's going to be a tad messy as there is some dense fog expected into tomorrow there along that Wisconsin border. Future fog, let's take a look at what we're expecting. Reduced visibility down here along that Wisconsin border, like I mentioned, Menominee and Delta counties and Newberry, even over along the bridge there. So maybe if you have to head downstate through the mitten. Just be aware that you're going to definitely want those low beams on. Give yourself extra space, and everybody slow down. Okay, we've got a full moon. I've got to tell you about that a little bit later, but for the next 3 days, I mentioned that drizzle and fog, chances of it freezing as well, even though we've got these warmer temperatures. We'll be in that 30 to 35 degree range tomorrow, and then Friday, 35 to 40 possible there with, of course, fog. And that commute on Friday morning could be a little bit dicey as we're expecting some freezing drizzle overnight on that Thursday. Taking a look, though, around the UP the past couple of hours, some of that wintry mix hanging out in Menominee County, maybe a little bit in Delta County, but overall, we're going to expect cloudy conditions for the night, and then around 8 a.m. between Delta and Schoolcraft, there we go, South Schoolcraft County, we could see some of that drizzle before we see another batch or it increasing there in the early afternoon hours. By 3 p.m., we could have more on that commute between Marquette and Escanaba, as well as M28 and heading over into Seney, maybe some snow showers there. So just be aware that it could be a little bit slippery on that evening commute for Thursday, but then things kind of clearing out. But we do have chances of this returning on Friday. As of right now, it's not seeming that way, and the snow accumulations that we have right now could be disappearing again with that warm temperature increasing and these rain accumulations that we'll see maybe 2/10 of an inch, maybe 3/10 of an inch. But the No Cayman Marathon continuing on. Friday, the junior No K gets kicked off. We've got about 35 as that high for the day. And then on Saturday, we'll see warm conditions again. So just be prepared. And I mentioned that wolf moon. We've got this full moon coming on. I'll have more on that and your 7 day coming up in 15.
Thanks, Air. The DNR says it has experienced a very quiet and safe winter outdoor recreation season so far. During tonight's Western UP Citizen Advisory Council meeting, a DNR officer reported minimal injuries and incidents on trails throughout the Western UP. The DNR credits the lack of incidents to mild temperatures and snowfall so far. With the warming temperatures warm to above freezing over the next week, officers warn that activities like skating and ice fishing, though, could become dangerous.
And I think we're very lucky at this point to not have drownings across the UP because people venture out on every type of ice that you can imagine. But I have not heard of any incidents up here. So I think we've dodged a bullet right there.
Guidelines on ice safety can be found at WZMQ19.com. If you're shopping for a child booster seat to put in your vehicle, there's some good news. Bradley Blackburn tells us why.
This crash test shows what can happen when children aren't properly secured in a vehicle. When kids outgrow a car seat, they need a booster seat. There are many new models on the market, and the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety found plenty of quality choices.
47 of the 54 boosters we rated received our top rating of best bet, and none of them were not recommended.
Jessica Jermakian is with IIHS. The group analyzes seats to make sure the belt fits correctly for a typical 4 to 8-year-old. The new seats on the best bet list join those previously rated by IIHS. They range in price from $25 to almost $450 and will work in almost any car, minivan, or SUV. Safety experts say a good booster places the belt at the center of the shoulder.
It's not riding up on the neck or falling off the shoulder, and the lap belt is low across the hips, really on the upper thighs, not riding up into the belly.
Parents should make sure the seat works in their vehicle. Many communities offer inspection stations where instructors demonstrate how to properly install a car seat.
Whether it's cross-country or just going down the neighborhood, we need to make sure kids are buckled up on every trip.
The IIHS says children buckled up in booster seats are 45% less likely to be injured in a crash compared to those using seat belts alone.
Today, 2 organizations teamed up to feed hundreds of hungry families and individuals in Delta County. The Escanaba Salvation Army hosted a Feeding America West Michigan mobile food pantry. In just a few hours, volunteers loaded about 330 vehicles with 12,000 pounds of food. Food distribution takes place each month, typically on the 3rd Wednesday. The Salvation Army says, especially in economically challenging times, it's crucial to help those who are struggling.
Make decisions of paying my utility bill or paying rent or food on the table versus other things, and we want to be able to make that easier on folks right now. This supplements all of our other programs. We have a food pantry, and this is just another way to support people.
More information about future food distribution events or how you can volunteer can be found at WZMQ19.com. As the Lions prepare for the NFC Championship this weekend against the 49ers, players say they have been overwhelmed with the love and support from fans. But one fan is showing support that is permanent. Gino Vici has the story.
We've seen fans dye their hair blue, travel in large numbers to away games, but Alex Chepeska got a tattoo on his arm that reads Lions Super Bowl Champs 2024, and he got it before the season even began. Lions players say this is just another example of how committed these fans are to this team.
I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
Alex Chepeska is so sure the Lions are winning the Super Bowl, he did this.
So I got this early August, a week before the first preseason game. I knew they were doing it. It's happening.
Before the playoffs, even before the 12 regular season wins, and yes, even before the season started, Chepeska tatted Lions Super Bowl Champs 2024 on his arm and says the response?
Yeah, there's a few haters out there, but mostly everyone's been positive.
As you can imagine, he's gained more and more praise for his permanent prediction as the Lions keep winning.
The longer it goes, the more people have been on board.
In the locker room today after team practice, Alex Anzalone says all the support from fans has been unbelievable, and this is no exception.
I mean, the tattoo, that's a huge commitment. Obviously, you get it removed, but, yeah, it's awesome just because of, when I re-signed here in March, it's the biggest thing for me is obviously it had to work out, in different ways. But I think the legacy that you can leave here just because of where this organization has been, you can cement your name in history here, and our opportunities right in front of us.
Chepeska says again, as the tattoo reads, this Sunday, Lions win, and the Super Bowl, Lions win.
It feels like destiny now that it's our turn. It's the most exciting time I've ever had being a Lions fan.
That is some dedication right there. Still ahead tonight, a seeming increase in homeschooling across Michigan the past few years. Why officials say the true numbers are harder to figure out than most people realize.
Do you hate throwing away food that's gone bad? Does your pantry look like a bad disaster? What if you could keep your food as fresh as the day you bought it and vacuum seal any ingredient? Eric Thies here with my new portable, powerful PowerXL Duo NutriSealer. This incredible breakthrough in technology can savor any flavor while it seals in the freshness. What's the secret? The Duo NutriSealer will remove all the air. Once all the air is removed, the air pressure detection system is automatically activated and seals your bag tight. And it's the only patented handheld sealer that creates double seals. The Duo has a floating hinge and a built-in slicer to make bags of any size. You can even seal through liquid. Don't let its small compact size fool you. With just one touch of a button, the Duo seals any bag, and it will stay bonded until you open it, guaranteed. The Duo NutriSealer locks in nutrients and freshness, so you can keep your food 5 times longer. Prep and freeze delicious meals, or buy wholesale and seal individual packs and save up to 60%. Our bags are BPA free, microwave safe, and will never leach.
Now put the power of the Duo NutriSealer in your hands for only 3 payments of $33.33. And it comes with a 1-year VIP guarantee protection plan. And we're also going to give you Eric's recipe book. It includes recipes for marinades in minutes for super delicious meals. And we're still not done. Order now and you'll receive an entire year's worth of bags. That's a $50 value, yours free. Call or go online and we'll also include free shipping. There's still more. When you buy one NutriSealer, you can get one for free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Lock in the flavor and freshness for yourself and share in the savings with a friend. You can get it all. 2 Power XL Duo NutriSealers, 2 recipe books, 2 years worth of bags, VIP protection plan, and free shipping. A $400 value, yours today for only 3 easy payments of $33.33.
You're watching the award-winning WZMQ 19 News, live and local with Sarah Blakely.
2023 was a big year for the Escanaba Public Library, and administrators plan to keep that momentum going into 2024. Last year, the library registered more than 800 new cards, about a 14% jump over 2022. Patrons returning to the library also increased by 11%. The director credits the library's community programming, bookmobile outreach, and resources like technical assistance and drive-up service for the growth. Are more families pulling their kids out of school to homeschool? There are some reports that say the number of homeschool students is on the rise across the country, but as Kristen Bien reports, unfortunately it's difficult to get a clear picture of what's really happening in Michigan.
Most governments and associations define homeschools as parent or guardian-led schooling, which is based in the home. A lot of what that looks like for each student is based on what the parent decides. That's one of the reasons it's difficult to get a full picture of how many children are being homeschooled.
Ethan and Emily Tuttle were happy. This looks a lot like school, but these students are homeschooled.
Where is that sensory information going to come from?
This is a co-op. It's a group of homeschooled families with similar beliefs about education and faith that gather for learning and social opportunities. On the day we visited, the older kids were learning about psychology, the younger kids were learning about insects. 7-year-old Aurora is in this group. What is this?
A larva.
This co-op meets once a week.
Say big A.
Big A.
Good job.
The rest of the time, Aurora and her family homeschool at home.
I've looked up kind of like the basic of like where a child's supposed to be in kind of grade school wise, but I'm not like hardcore like trying to get them to know all of this stuff within a year.
Mom Heather Beckham decided to homeschool when Aurora was a baby. She likes that her kids can learn at their own pace and that she gets to pick the curriculum.
So our biggest focus especially for our homeschooling and our family is I really just want them to have a good basic foundation of math and reading skills.
There might be more families interested in homeschooling. A report by the Washington Post found homeschooling has become America's fastest growing form of education. But whether that rise is taking place in Indiana and Michigan is difficult to know. That's because homeschool registration isn't required in either state and no student data is collected. Is that a cookie? Brittany Proctor and her 3 children are in that homeschool co-op.
The flexibility of learning styles, not having them be forced to sit in a classroom with 20 other kids, being quiet, and having to focus on things that they either already knew or were struggling with.
The latest data from the National Center for Education Statistics found that about 5% of kids were reported to be homeschooled, and it showed most parents made that choice because they were concerned about the safety, environment, or academics in schools. They wanted to provide more moral or religious instruction to their kids, and they wanted more emphasis on family life.
It just seemed nice and natural to just be able to sit and do school with them.
Robin Spencer chose to homeschool her 7 children about 23 years ago.
They're doing a lot of the same things that traditional high schoolers are doing. They're not missing any opportunities. They're not being isolated most of the time. It's just sort of like just a different way to do life and education.
No matter the reason, these homeschool parents say this is the choice that is best for their children, and they're happy they get to make it.
Families who homeschool their children may also be eligible for a tax deduction. The milder temperatures stick around overnight, and there could be some patchy fog out there as well and into tomorrow for your morning commute. Ariane has the outlook on the way. And I do declare the murder mystery dinner at a Marquette Senior Living facility in our final story after this.
It's time to clear out the showroom for Kirkish Furniture's January clearance sale. Find year-end savings in every department all month long. Furniture, mattresses, appliances, and flooring. Shop Kirkish Furniture's January clearance sale while supplies last.
My name is Brett Watt, and I've been at Goodwill since supposedly 2011, but don't quote me on that. Before Goodwill, I don't know what exactly, it's complicated, but it's what I actually enjoy. I always say, it just motivates me. It helps me concentrate on life. Impact for the positive. Trust me on that. Goodwill, in my opinion, might as well be my favorite company.
Supporting Goodwill helps give our clients fuller lives.
Hidden in your jewelry box could be a custom designed piece of jewelry that you've never worn before. Hi, this is Sherry from Erickson Jewelers. And like most people, you probably have some old jewelry that you just don't wear anymore. We'll bring those pieces into us, and together we'll design a new creation. It'll be unique, just like you, and you'll be proud to wear it every day. Tonight, go through your jewelry box, and tomorrow, come see us at Erickson Jewelers. We'll have you wearing a new piece of fine jewelry that you love at a price you didn't think possible.
I will not rest until I'm done. When there is evil on the run.
Bonanza, weekdays at 2 on MeTV 19.1.
First Bank, where it's all about people.
Our current temperatures are in these low 30s, but tomorrow will bump up just a little bit, close to 40, possibly, but most of us in that mid 30s range. And we also have a new full moon on the way. It is the Wolf Moon, peak illumination around 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And no, it's not because the wolves were hungry in the winter. I mean, yeah, they're hungry, but that's how they communicate. So Wolf Moon, it's not due to their hunger, but just them being able to be more vocal, or people hearing it a lot more. That's the legend there. Speedy Sleds event that's going on in Rapid River on Friday and Saturday. Friday, my friends, could see that freezing drizzle and fog, maybe just some drizzle. Saturday looks a little bit clearer as far as that precipitation. Our 7-day outlook for Marquette, similar conditions. On our Thursday, Friday, mostly cloudy skies. But of course, that precipitation could return. That came in on that high temp around 38 on Saturday.
Finally tonight, a Marquette Assisted Living Center held a Clue-themed dinner for its residents and partners tonight. Brook Ridge Heights Assisted Living Center's theme for 2024 is Making Memories. So tonight, staff kicked things off with a classic whodunit murder mystery themed dinner for current and potential residents. The aim was just to provide a fun way for those considering Brook Ridge Heights to come visit the facility and see what it has to offer, as well as do some networking with local care providers.
For our residents, have them do something a little bit out of the ordinary. Maybe laugh at us a little bit because we're dressed up. For family members of residents to come on in, maybe take a tour of the building again, brush up on our services.
Brook Ridge Heights plans to continue holding similar events monthly throughout 2024. I love a good whodunit.
Oh,
love it.
My gosh, Clue is one of my favorite movies, so I'm
good.
there with you.
That's it for tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Spice up your life. Mel B is on the Jennifer Hudson Show.
Your kids, do they know their mom is a Spice Girl?
I was playing my music. They were like, is it Lady Gaga?
Yeah, better know who your mama is.
And I'm in the kitchen with Zoe. Plus, don't miss Snoop Dogg on my next show.
The Jennifer Hudson Show, tomorrow at 5 on WZMQ TV.